In this video, we're going to look at the 4 major business trends that might affect the business world in 2020. We're going to start from the top by looking at the trend that is probably going to be shaped in the next few years, up to the trends that instead are very active right now. You're going to see them color-coded, where you have the red light, which means that there is nothing yet to do, to the orange, where it means that it's trend that is probably will be very important in the next couple of years, and then you have a green light, which means that those are very trends that you need to understand right now. You might say, why should I understand trends that are related to the internet, to the new way of doing business, also when I have a traditional business model? Well, in reality, even if you have a small business which is outside the internet, imagine of a physical store, in reality the threats for your business, but also the opportunities, are not coming anymore from your neighbor or from the shop in the corner of the street. Those are coming from the web. So it's very important that you understand those trends to actually understand how you can evolve your own business to actually make it grow. Now, if we start from the first trend, which is the Uber platform, or like the super platform, this is a very important trend. In an interview from FourWeekMBA with the Vice President of Blockchain Technology, Jerry Cuomo of IBM, we discussed how important is right now the blockchain. Now, anyone is talking about blockchain, but really the most important opportunities right now are on the enterprise blockchain. Probably we're going to look also at consumer blockchain opportunities in the coming years, but for now, this is the place where most value is added. And we discussed how the blockchain enables a new way of doing business, which goes behind the platform. So in a platform business model, if you know how it works, usually there is a central player which will make money and will actually grow exponentially by enabling an ecosystem around the platform. So for as much interactions you enable on the platform, as much money you will make and as much growth you can expect. In a blockchain-driven platform, so what we can call the Uber platform, actually the game is a bit different, because finally, for the first time, companies will be able to work together, and you won't have anymore a central player which will actually set the policies for the overall ecosystem, but you will have a set of companies that will be able to act as one, as a single entity. And that's the most interesting aspect. So the blockchain will enable at organizational level for companies to work together so that they can form a single entity. So we will go finally, we will pass through the company, the corporate stage, and we will move in a direction where we're going to have, a giant entity which isn't anymore a single player like Facebook or Google or Amazon, but it's going to be a combination of companies that coming together will actually set the rules for the entire ecosystem. And this is very interesting trend to look at. And nothing yet to do here, you just need to wait and see. The only thing, of course, is if you're thinking to start a business right now, this is a very interesting space you may want to look at. And of course, this is a trend that as it evolves, actually creates opportunities for business people. A second trend, which is very, very important, and again, is getting shaped, and probably in the next couple of years, it's going to be even stronger, is tech regulation. I mean, if you looked and if you watch probably the TV in the last couple of years, we've seen anywhere the faces of tech billionaires, from Bezos to Zuckerberg. But the most interesting aspect is that those people have drawn a lot of attention, especially due to the data scandals that happened in the last years. And right now this attention is happening especially from the regulators, which are finally understanding the power of those platforms. And so in many cases we can expect, like in 2020 or 2021, to see regulations on those platforms, which means that you can expect some of those platforms to lose some of their control on some of the pieces, because right now platforms like, for instance, Facebook or Google have a massive control over their platform, but we might expect that some parts of this platform may be spun off by the main business. And if that is the case, and if that happens, new opportunities will arise for also other businesses, small businesses, new businesses, and in that case it's very important that you look at them, because as an opportunity arises, that's when entrepreneurship will thrive. Third aspect, which right now it's very strong, it's the trend of walled gardens. I mean, if you look at tech players right now, let's take as an example Google. Actually, Google used to be a company that sent a lot of traffic to websites around the web. I'm not saying that this isn't happening anymore. Actually, many argue, and I agree with them, that as Google is growing in a platform that is able to provide more and more value to users, more people are coming to the platform, and so the traffic, the overall traffic that Google is sending to websites across the web is actually growing rather than dropping right now. But if we look at the business trend from a purely business standpoint, Google right now used to be a company that covered a small part of the user journey. So as the user searched for something, Google helped the user to find the information and send the user on a website. Right now, things are changing very quickly. Since 2016, Google right now is covering more of the journey. So not only Google is providing information to users even before the search for something, so it's going before the search intent, but Google right now is also getting people to actually help them to do things. So not anymore find information, but Google is transitioning in becoming a company that helps people do things, and this is very important. This is key to understand how Google is evolving, because again, this used to be the narrow space Google would cover in terms of user experience and user journey, and this is getting larger and larger, and so Google is creating a wall within the platform that will enable users to do many actions within the platform and just get them to the transaction stage. And this is going to be an interesting trend to look at. So what to do in this case with your business, and how you avoid the threat from a platform like Google, for instance, and now you take advantage of that. Well, in this case, what you can do in an era of platforms that are actually able to dominate very also niches. So we used to have a time where those platforms could not get inside niches because they didn't have the technology, the power, or the business power to actually do that. Right now they can. Unless regulation is going to stop them, we're going to see them invading more and more niches, from travel to shopping and more, and so on and so forth. So it's not enough anymore to look at niches. Right now, what you want to do, you want to look at micro niches. So you want to look at a subset of a niche. You want to look at something which is small, but yet it has an opportunity to do business. So for instance, if you were Amazon back in the days, so back in the late 90s, and you were opening a new space on a new technology like the internet, you could say something like, I'm going to start a business on the web, on the internet, actually by selling books. Today, you cannot say something like that, or actually you can try, but it's very hard to succeed because you need to be way more specific. So what's a category within the books, for instance, within the business books or within the historical fiction that you can cover that has enough audience for you to build a business? And as you build a business within the micro niche, what you're doing, you're creating options to scale. So it's very important that you understand that you need to look at a micro niche. You need to approach that micro niche as a PhD, meaning that instead of just creating content, you need to actually go very deep with the content that you're creating. So you need to work like you were doing a PhD, like you were providing so much value, as so much more value compared to existing players, and compared to the same key platforms that is dominating the space. That actually the same platform, like for instance Google, will want to feature your website, your niche, your business, because you are so valuable for the end users. And as you actually grow in that micro niche, you create options to scale, and this is the most important aspect for the business world right now. You have a small business, you need to create options, so you need to create options to scale it. And then of course it's going to be up to you in which space you want to go and which direction. But the most important thing, when you start a business, you don't have options. When you actually go in a micro niche and you actually conquer that micro niche, you are creating an option to go in a different direction. You are creating different directions that you can go. But at the beginning, you need to be very focused. And right now, again, in this trend, you need to look at micro niches. A last important trend that is very strong right now is, I call it behind the social media and the Chinese tech domination. And to understand that, let's look at a platform which is called TikTok. TikTok right now, of course, has become very, very popular. But the most interesting aspect of TikTok, I think there are a couple of aspects that are very interesting. The first one is that finally, TikTok is the first Chinese player, because the company behind TikTok is called ByteDance and is a Chinese conglomerate with probably $100 billion of capital behind its shoulders. But what matters is that for the first time, Chinese companies are dominating in the Western world in a space which is not anymore in the hardware space. So it's going on the platform side, on the software side. So we're looking at those platforms that are finally coming to the West, and this of course opens up new threats and new opportunities as anything else. And the important aspect is that when we look at a platform like TikTok, many think of it as a competitor of Facebook and Instagram, but this is a limitation, because if you look at a platform like that, just like a social media player, this is wrong. A platform like TikTok, which has created actually as both, because back in 2016 TikTok bought another company, another social platform. But when you create a new format which is compelling for the new generations, you're actually competing for attention. And Facebook and Instagram are not the competitors, the main competitors of TikTok. Actually, TikTok is opening up this new space and is actually getting attention from the new generation, and is going to expand to the other generations. And this is actually will steal market share to all the other platforms. Also platforms like Google, YouTube, and the other platforms actually might be threatened by a platform like TikTok in the coming years. So it's very important to understand that, again, this is not a social media, this is something that goes behind. It's very important to look at it as a new player, opening up a new space, and understand what this new space is made of. So if you have a business, what can you do in this case? Well, first of all, probably I would look at ways you can do communication through TikTok. And it's very important though that you do understand the context of the platform, but then you actually make sure that your communication style is in line with your business, because many fall into the trap of saying, okay, this is a new trend, a new platform, I want to be on it. And they risk actually to lose the essence of the business and their communication just because they want to attract attention. This is extremely wrong. And if you do this, actually probably you're doing it all wrong. So it's very important that you look at the platform, what are the key formats that there are on the platform, and which one might be more in line with your communication, with your business, with your product. And based on that, you want to actually create a sort of format or mini format that you can launch on the platform that, again, is in line with your business. Don't be tricked, don't be fooled, don't think that by doing dances right now on the platform, because this is the most popular format, you're gonna grab attention and you're gonna sell more of your products. Unless you sell attention, you might want to consider how to use this platform. So look at it in the next months, observe the different formats and understand how you can communicate. Another key element is that, as those tech companies are coming to the West, there is also the opposite trend. I mean, the Chinese consumer market is very interesting. So if you have a business that is dealing with digital products, or in any case also a physical business, try to understand in which ways you can start making business with the Chinese consumers. And the third, of course, element is about new viral formats. Again, if you go on a platform like TikTok, the most interesting aspect is that the platform is driven by the AI, and most of it is based on recommendation systems that go behind what you're just following. So it's very powerful because it goes behind the social logic. It's just viral. It's just a culture. It's just something that again goes behind the thing social media, and we're gonna understand this trend going forward in 2020. And those were the key business trends to look for in 2020 if you want to understand what threats are coming, but also what opportunities are coming ahead.